Morning, everybody. How are we all doing? Sammy, United People's TV. Another wonderful day. Where's the signings? How dare it go 3 days without here we go? It's disgusting behaviour from United. Anyway, all jokes aside, I'm going to bring you the latest Man United transfer news. We are heading out to, Manchester United are heading out to America tomorrow. Højlund's back. Eriksen's back. Tom Heaton's back. I don't actually know what the full squad's going to be that flies out tomorrow, but our first pre-season tour game is on Sunday morning, 1 a.m. UK time. I'll be covering it. No doubt you know that. But first, we're going to continue speaking about transfer news. And today we're going to speak about a couple of names that, we didn't speak about yesterday or the day before, I suppose. We've got Fofana, we've got Mazraoui, we'll speak about Ligt, we'll speak about Ugarte, we'll speak about Zubimendi, we'll speak about United's midfield plans, central defence plans, Dan Ashworth's first message to the fans, Lenny Yoro's first interview, and a couple of other things. And as always, you're firing your comments and your questions throughout the show, and I will try and answer as many of them as I can throughout. It's just busy 24/7. You can let me know in the comments if there's any ideas you want me to do for lunchtime videos this week in preparation for the preseason. I think there's some stuff I'd like to do. But who's here from the mod gang? Let's have a quick look. Alex, good morning to you. Alex, we're there as well. Josh, you're there too, as always. Carl, I can see you there as well. And who else? Can't see anybody else. From the Memmy gang, we've got Michael and Garlic Bread Man. How you doing, man? Poke. We've got Deb Polar, not Deadpool. I want to go and see that, actually. My sister's going to see it on Friday, I think. Cinema. Big up every man cinemas, by the way. Oh, come on. Anyway, we've got Laurie and we've got Stephanie. Good morning to you, Stephanie. On Facebook, we have Thomas Hayes, Tim Elston, John Taylor, Danny Eames, Matt Frost. How you doing, buddy? You're saying you watched the Yoro interview. Yeah, I've really enjoyed that Yoro interview, I'll be honest. Someone's asking what kit I'm wearing. I think it's one of the new training kits. Just like the look of it. So I got it. Well, I didn't buy it from United. That's all we need to say. Well, there's no point ever doing that, man. But anyway, let's get into this show. You know the drill, as I said, by now. Please do fire in your questions in your comments. I'll try and answer and engage with as many members of the community as possible. And if you can, please do drop a like on the video. It does make a big, big difference. But this happened yesterday, and it's I'm still sitting there sort of pinching myself, really. I am a little bit. Like, you've waited so long for a football structure to be in place, and you're waiting so long for communication from it that it just kind of like, you go, huh? What's that? Every time you see it. So Dan Ashworth sent out it kind of reads like a kind of a little bit like a manifesto, but not really like a manifesto. It's just him sort of laying out the plans, just laying out his ambitions, I suppose, as Manchester United sporting director. And there's one little grab quote here for you. It goes, the focus is on getting... I'll go over here, you can't see it properly. The focus is on getting back to being among the best on the pitch. It won't happen overnight, but together with Omar and his new leadership team, we will not rest until we have achieved it. Which, of course, is hot air at this point in time. However, what I would say, and I've already done videos on this, so I don't need to do another one. I've seen a lot of action since they came in terms of setting the whole structure up. And it would have happened a couple of months early, by the way, if we weren't hamstrung by Newcastle being not childish, but just ridiculous with their demands. That's what I would have called it. The fact that they came on the last day before PSR and said, okay, you win. There you go. Well, thanks for wasting our time, lads. But I suppose that's what negotiations are. And then everything that's happened so far in this window, we've obviously got Yoro in and we've got Xerxes in, both easily done, settled in and ready to join the pre-season tour. Unfortunately, we haven't got every signing in. Now, can someone let me know in the comments, what major signings have Arsenal made or Liverpool? I actually don't know off the top of my head. Arsenal are about to get Calafiori. That's been kind of dragged out a little bit. I don't actually know if Liverpool have made any. Have they? I've no idea. City have got Savio, of course, from their sister club. I think that's their main signing. Edison might be leaving. Chelsea. I'm going to speak about Chelsea in a second, actually. It's hilarious. But it feels like United so far have attacked the window better than anyone else. And I would also say, I think Manchester United had to attack the window more than anybody else. I think the requirements for us were much, much higher. We finished 8th. I don't need to remind you that. Villa signed Onana yesterday. It's a really big signing. It's a really good signing as well. I'm looking forward to seeing what Aston Villa do in the Champions League this year. Obviously, we've got no involvement in it. I'd like Villa to... I don't know whether it was when I was younger when this conversation was around. It's like this idea of supporting English clubs in Europe. Is that still a thing? Not that I'm going to support Villa. And Connor, if you're watching, I know you won't like this. Mate Connor, who has an unreasonable dislike of Aston Villa. I think he told me why. I can't remember why. Anyway, Aston Villa are doing well. But back to us and back to Dan Ashworth. It's good to continue to hear and see from our new football structure. Omar Barada sent the letter to Man United Supporters Trust on day one as CEO. Dan Ashworth sort of laid it out. I'd love there to be a full interview with Dan Ashworth. I think there was when he joined Newcastle. I'd love there to be a full interview with Omar Barada so you could sort of just see them speaking about the plans. I think that would be pretty cool. I'll tell you what, I think United's media team actually looks like they've improved it as well so far this summer. It's just improvements. I'm seeing improvements everywhere. 2 days without a transfer says that it's disgusting. That's disgusting. One of the best memes ever. Memes? Just best videos. Rex, how you doing, buddy? You're saying exciting times at United, Sam. Other clubs are jealous of our activity. Hopefully it leads to performances. Can you make a shall we emoji? Probably need to do a bit of an update on the emojis. Alex and Joe, if you can, I don't know, speak to everybody. You can see what emojis we have and how many other ones we want. I can go back to the same designer and say, look, let's get some more ones. More ones? Let's get some more emojis. I can do that. But yeah, you guys would have to let me know which ones you want. I want to pull this up. You know, I was talking about how or what other teams have done so far in this window. I just pulled this up because this is the squad that Chelsea have announced for their pre-season tour. And I'm looking at this squad and I'm like, how on earth have Chelsea spent so much money and their squad looks like this? Obviously, there's going to be certain players that aren't involved in it. Like Enzo Fernandez isn't involved because, well, first of all, he's a raging racist. Second of all, he was in a Copa America final. And so there's going to be others that, and I'm guessing that's why it's a little bit weaker. But boy, man, that team, Chelsea, I hope they fold. I still stand by it. If I could fold one football club, it would be Chelsea. I've said that for a long time, and I will always stand by it. But anyway, I just find it hilarious. You look at what Manchester United have started now, and the structure that we have in place. Boy, you look at that Chelsea. They've just got an owner who thinks he knows. It's like the equivalent of Jim Ratcliffe coming in and just deciding that he, because I'm a billionaire, I think I actually probably know better than you. So right, lads, let me just roll my sleeves up. I've done a couple of Football Manager saves. I played PES 6 back in the day. I know exactly how to build a football team. And Ratcliffe doing it. That's kind of what the Todd Bowley's nut job. Anyway, let's move on to transfers. And let's start with the news that came out yesterday. And I covered that in a video. And it's the acceleration of the Ligt deal. So coming from Sky Sports Germany, the Manchester United have put in their first offer for Ligt. Now, what I would say is it's not been corroborated by anybody over here just yet. So David Ornstein, Fabrizio Romano, or I say just over here, Fabrizio's everywhere, or James Ducker or Simon Stone. So I'll be interested to see what goes on there. But I've updated the board. If we go to the active board now, we can see that we've got Ligt has moved across to the level 4. And I deleted a couple of names from there. We had Rios there yesterday, and we had, I think, Zubimendi yesterday. Yeah, PES 6, man. I've got back into playing PES 6. Me and my mate Dave dusted off the old PS2. Man, PES 6 was the one. It's the single best football game that ever existed. Might have to do a second channel of like a Master League. But anyway, back to the board. Delict's over there on level 4 with Branthwaite. Bids going in for both of them. I don't think that we're going to be going back for Branthwaite. There was actually a separate report following on from what we said yesterday that Branthwaite is going to be given a new contract offer from Everton with a salary increase. And maybe he'll sign that. I don't know. Paul saying I wouldn't be trolling Enzo. I'm not trolling Enzo. I'm just explaining it. Yeah, right now there is no footage of Martinez or Garnacho. We'll find out. And I'll have the same attitude towards them. Trolling. Anyway, back to Ligt. 35 mil is definitely a bid that was never going to be accepted. You know, in the same way that Manchester United offering 43 million was never going to be accepted by Everton for Branthwaite. But this is how you open up negotiations, right? I mean, don't go in too low, so it's like an offensive offer. But if Bayern Munich indeed want 50 million plus add-ons, Manchester United have offered 30 plus add-ons, then you know where the compromise is. You know exactly where the compromise is. 40 to 42 million euros plus add-ons, which is, we thought, that's cheap. What's 42 million euros? Is that about 35 million quid? Damn, that's cheap. Anyway, so we'll go over to the linked whiteboard. Had a little bit of an update here this morning. I added some red lines above just to section off the transfers that basically can't happen. Well, Jean-Claire Todibo can't. So you can see on the defenders underneath the red line, you've got Todibo, Tosin because he's joined Chelsea, Scalvini because he's done his ACL, Kilman because I think he's going West Ham, Calafiori because he's going Arsenal. I think Norman's going to Atletico. Same goes for midfielders, and the same goes for strikers or attackers. Elise, Garassi, Sesko, and Batelli. I've added a couple of new names onto the defenders list. We'll speak about Vanderson in a little bit. We'll speak about Mazraoui, Fofana and Zubimendi and Rios and Simons and Rabiot. They're your 5 names mentioned for the central midfield positions. And Ivan Toney and Calvert-Lewin are the 2 names right now who are linked with potentially, if Manchester United decide that we want to sign another attacker and they go in there. I don't think we're going to have enough money for that, right? I don't think we're going to have enough money for that. Fox is saying delete them. No, I want to keep them on the board. This board is about keeping a tally of how many players we're linked with. So there's no point deleting them. Otherwise, it takes away from all the effort that goes into the board in the first place. So everyone's going to stay on the board. They're just going to be sectioned off. Anyway, Ligt. Man United want Ligt. But this, I think, I thought we were at this point, and then we heard about this Ligt offer going in. It feels like Manchester United really, really are in the position now where we have to sell. So we go back to the boards and we go again. We know full well that we've got Xerxes and we've got Euro in, and we haven't quite made enough money from sales yet. Especially if 20% of that goes to Getafe for Greenwood. I'll speak about that. But this is where United have really got to get active and moving. Scott McTominay, Pellistri, Sancho, Casemiro, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof. That's 6 players right there. And you can add in Hannibal. You can add in Eriksen. These are all players who are open for being sold. Certain players at the right price. McTominay, I'm not forcing out of this club. And don't think United will. I think if he stays next season, I think he'll be a good player for us again. However, probably out of all of those players, he's one of the... Sancho and McTominay... And actually, I probably would just say McTominay's just got the most value as a squad player without any baggage or any red flags. Sancho's got red flags. I don't really think McTominay's got any. I think a lot of teams would benefit from signing him. Anyway, feels like deals need to be done. But in the meantime, we'll speak about transfers and we'll speak about Mazraoui, right? Not the only right back to be linked with Manchester United this summer. Let's go to the board. We've got Mazraoui and Vanderson, who we've just been linked with now. Who else do we have down here? Frimpong, who I've consistently said it's just like I don't really understand anybody who's putting his name in the mix. Sky Sports have done it, but very, very fleetingly at the bottom of it's not even an article. It's just like an update on the live feed on their website. That's as far as the Frimpong links go, but people still seem to hold on to the coattails of it and want him. Anyway, Di Lorenzo was linked as well. That never really went anywhere. That's why it's down in the red. But Mazraoui. Yesterday, Florian Plettenberg said this, Sky Sports Germany. Manchester United and West Ham are both exploring a deal to sign Mazraoui. First talks have taken place. Mazraoui is at the top of the list for both clubs and he's keen to play in the league. 26-year-old right-back can leave Bayern. Originally, they demanded 30 million euros. However, the market does not support this. Now, Bayern are pushing to get 20 to 25, but the most realistic price is 15 to 20 million all in. Contract valid until 2026. So Mazraoui, right? I want to ask you a question down here in the comments. Let's go for a poll. Choose one, right? Choose one for next season, right? You've either got Mazraoui, or you've got Wan-Bissaka. If you could have one of those right backs in the Manchester United squad next season, which one would you choose? Shax, I can see you down there, dude. Gifting 5 memberships. Pretty sure I sorted the alerts out down here. So Casemiro should be able to wish you a certain good morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hello.
Managed to fix it. Very nice. But Mazraoui, okay, is... We don't need to speak about the Ajax links. You know what I would say now about Manchester United and being linked with any Dutch player or any former Ajax player? I don't care anymore because it's not Erik ten Hag making the decisions, right? If we get linked to a former Ajax player or a Dutch player, it's because it fits the game model. It's because Dan Ashworth and Omar Berrada and Jason Wilcox, they've all decided that he would be a good signing for the game model. It wouldn't be Erik ten Hag going out and going, well, actually, I've managed him before, so let's just go for him because it's all I know. That's what it was previously. It's different now because things can change. And the people in charge of making those decisions, they're not just looking at former Ajax players for the sake of it. I'm going to go down here and look at that on the poll. So you've got 54% of you are saying Wan-Bissaka and 46% of you are saying Mazraoui. Now, Mazraoui on paper, look, and this, again, this is the issue, right? I'll pull this up. Because it's definitely probably the biggest concern that you'd have about Mazraoui. Right. This. I think it's fair to say he's got injury problems. His injury history here. You can see this is last season there. 1, 2, 3 muscle problems. I think that was a torn calf. One of them was a torn calf. Fitness issues. I think he did have. Yeah, I think he might have had the Rona as well at some point. Anyway, Mazraoui's definitely got some injury problems, and that would probably be the biggest concern. Something that is abundantly obvious, and I spoke about this yesterday when I was speaking through the... Not that one. Let me close that. When I was speaking through the Ligt situation, Bayern need to sell this summer. They absolutely need to sell. Hence why there might be a good price to have for Mazraoui. Let me go down and read some of your comments. Daz, you're saying Wan-Bissaka is terrible, can't go forward or defend properly, always last-ditch tackles. I think that's unfair on Wan-Bissaka. He massively improved under Erik ten Hag. He's certainly better at defending than he is going forward, and he's got a certain skill set. If you use him in the right way, in the right game and against the right player, he's one of the hardest fullbacks to go past in world football. But he's certainly limited going forward. And he certainly can't invert in the same way that Delo does. We've got Fabamo. You're saying Mazraoui can do both attack and defend, but Wan-Bissaka can only defend. He looks awkward on the ball. As I said, he's improved in that. But, you know my take on this? Yesterday I said, look, there's a possibility that United could do this, right? I've told you, one sec, here. Let me bring this. This is where I said this is all there is on Jeremy Frimpong, right? I don't know why people keep holding on to it so much. I honestly feel like it's one of the most confusing things I've seen this summer. He is so not fit for purpose in, well, 2 reasons really with our fullback system. Number 1, we play with a back 4. And number 2, we play with inverted fullbacks. it's like the total opposite of what Jeremy Frimpong does. He's a winger. He's a right wing back in a back five, aka he goes on the outside. He doesn't invert. Anyway, that's as far as it. It's literally at the end of all of that. Oh yeah, by the way, Man United might have looked at Jeremy Frimpong and Vanderson. His name's down there as well. Vanderson, I think, is 23. Mazraoui is 26. 26 is pretty much the oldest player that we've been looking at so far this summer. But, right, if Manchester United are indeed considering a move for Mazraoui and are thinking about, right, okay, so basically what we're seeing is this. What we're seeing is Manchester United clearly realising that Wan-Bissaka might leave. All right, lads, so if we don't sell him this summer, we're going to lose him for free. And I don't think we can really, given our financial situation, I don't really think we can afford to lose any players for free. So while it might force us into a situation, I think we're probably going to have to deal with it. So if Wan-Bissaka leaves, who could we go after? Who could we look at? Man United have looked at Vanderson. Man United are now looking at Mazraoui. We've been linked with others before as well. But I think this conversation probably should come up again. Kadioglu. And again, this might have been one of the curveballs that Man United were looking at. I don't know what price. Has anybody seen what price has been linked with Kadioglu? Because effectively what we need this summer, if Wan-Bissaka was to leave, is we need somebody who could be an alternative to Dalot. And in certain games, we can take Dalot off and he's gonna regain fitness. He's gonna not be burnt out. So we don't need a starting quality right back. And Kadioglu is somebody who can play right back. And given our injury problems next season, if we're not going to sign a proper left back, he can play both left and right back, but actually do it very well. He's somebody who may well be the sort of signing that kind of covers us in a lot of areas. You're all saying somewhere down between 25 and 30 million euros. Well, if Manchester United are looking at 15 million for Wan-Bissaka, so that's around about 20 million euros. You're looking at spending a net 5 to 10 million by selling Wan-Bissaka and signing Kadioglu. I think that one makes more sense on paper than going after Mazraoui, who may well just end up being, when Madassia joined, he had a good first season and the second season disappeared with injuries. You may well see that Mazraoui sign and just be that. Just another player who goes, oh, great. He was good when he played, but we hardly ever saw him because he was injured. And I've already said this before. I think it's smart. I'm not saying that I'm forcing Wan-Bissaka out the door, but we as a club cannot afford to just let players leave on free where we can avoid it. And that probably means accelerating the idea of replacing a right back. I don't think United would be pushing for it. If Wan-Bissaka had one more year on his contract than he does, I don't even think these conversations would really exist. Unless West Ham came in with a really good bid. But because we're going to lose him on a free, that's why I think these conversations are there. Sell him for 15 million, and I would imagine that the better money is spent on Kadioglu. Or maybe Vanderson, I don't know, but Vanderson would probably be quite a lot. How much is Vanderson getting linked for? Don't know. But strikes me as a bit of a sick note. Might be wrong. But history shows you that he's struggled fitness-wise in every single season. It's not just last season, by the way. You can go back the season before. Missed 10 games there. The season before wasn't too bad, actually. You only missed, I don't know what that is. Inflammation. You missed 2 months. Actually, that's a fair amount of games. Season before, a couple of knocks, a couple of thigh problems, missed about, not too many games, I suppose. He's got injury problems, right? And it's exactly what you're saying down there, Chris. 1 year left means we've got to sell. And I think that's why Wan-Bissaka will be going. And if I'm looking at alternatives to bring him in, and if I'm speaking about Vanderson or Mazraoui or maybe Kadioglu, I think you could well go with Kadioglu. Yeah, I know that Luke Shaw's fitness is worse. But again, that's another reason why you're kind of getting two. You can buy one, get one free. You're getting a player who legitimate. Dalot can play left back, but I don't want him to. He's a better right back. Get him to just dominate that right-back position. He grew so much as a player last season. I think there's so much more he can improve and grow as a right-back. But just get him to play there more often. And then if you need to... Well, look, mate, we don't know, right? Mazraoui might be going on the pre-season tour. He's been training individually. Luke Shaw won't be there at the start because he went to the finals with England. But he needs that time off anyway. I've no idea who our fullbacks are going to be next season. No idea at all. Whether we're going to sign a left-back, whether we're going to sign a right-back, whether Wan-Bissaka is going to be sold, whether we're going to sign somebody like Kadioglu who can play both positions. I have no idea. But I'll be surprised if there wasn't change, real change, in terms of the fullback options that we've got. Maybe not real change, but a couple of changes. Let me go read a couple of your comments out down here. Wan-Bissaka missed more games through injury last season than Mazraoui. Really? Jeez. Interesting. Spurs were quoted 30 mil for Vanderson in January. Again, he's more like a pure right back. Again, Kadioglu gives you that versatility, and I think that versatility would serve United well across the course of a season. Sam Murray's going to be part of the first team squad. Sam Murray's had an opportunity. Is he ahead of Harry Mass? Maybe in terms of age. Anyway, let's move on to speak about central midfield, because central midfield's a bit of a curious one, I think. So far, we know who the main target is. Now, I should probably update that and get Fofana's name on the board there, because we've been linked with him more than once, actually, now. So let me quickly add that on here. Probably above Simmons. Because I think I'd probably still only put it down as level 1. But I would say we've had multiple links over the course of a few weeks. That's what I would say about the Fofana deal. But still, I'm going to put it down as a level 1 because I think right now it's not gone any further than that. However, Fofana. Fabrice Hawkins here from, is it Foot Mercato? No, RMC Sport. Saying that AC Milan have offered and agreed contract terms with Fofana. Now, AC Milan have been going after Fofana for a while now. And I don't know what's taken so long. I really don't. With Fofana, we were linked with him, I think, right at the start of the summer. But AC Milan were obviously deep in talks over a certain Joshua Zirkzee. They didn't want to pay the agent fee. Man United had managed to negotiate it down and managed to negotiate a different, and we gave them extra 2.5 mil. So everyone was happy. But Fofana is getting linked with Manchester United again. And it kind of, look, I'm going to go to there's an article coming out from The Athletic when I read through a few of these, because I don't know, I just find it a bit curious on the midfield side of things. Look, separate reports, multiple reports saying that Manchester United are interested in Fofana. It's not the first time, it's not the last time, right? But in terms of Ugarte, we know yesterday we spoke about the PSG and Sancho conversations. Now, I really hope that Jadon Sancho goes to PSG. And you have to wonder, because again, clubs now, and do you remember Jim Ratcliffe said this? He goes, you have to be careful, because at some point our clubs are going to employ more accountants and more lawyers than they are football players, because of the way the game has gone, because of how important it now is to be able to find loopholes and get around things. Maybe there's a way, somehow, where Manchester United can involve Ugarte and Sancho in some form of swap deal, and therefore reduce the price on both sides for both clubs, therefore reducing the amount of outlay on the PSR. I mean, it's a possibility. It would depend if PSG really are serious, but according to reports yesterday, that was the case. So in an ideal situation, that could well be something that happens. And maybe that will be smart for both. I wonder how much United would ask for Sancho. I don't know why Fabrizio's reporting this. PSG aren't working on a Bruno deal. That's good. Well, United also aren't working on a Lamine Yamal deal. Bit random. Bruno's going nowhere this summer. But going over here to what Sky Sports are reporting on United's move in the midfield. Scott McTominay, we know that if a big comes in, Man United will consider it because he's only got 2 years left on his contract. Ugarte's being linked, of course. Fofana's being linked. Amrabat, Casemiro, is he going to leave? Well, I'm going to speak about that a little bit later. But interestingly enough, if you go through the latest Athletic deal sheet, they release one of these, I don't know, every so often. Is it once a week? I don't actually quite know how long. But in the list of midfielders where they're speaking who Manchester United are linked with, they've got Adrien Rabiot there, they've got Zubimendi there, they've got Amrabat there. Scroll down. Nothing on Fofana, nothing on Ugarte. And that's the strange one. I know he said he's not working on Bruno. It's exactly what I said. Of course they're not working on Bruno. Bruno's not going anywhere. There's no mention of Ugarte in the Athletic deal sheet. Bit strange. Considering, as far as we know, the Ugarte to United reports are easily the most advanced. Fabrizio Romano last week confirming that we've agreed personal terms with Ugarte. Now, we've got the Ugarte transfer profile video. Well, we will have it ready for lunchtime today. So, if we don't sign him, then I suppose it won't ever see the light of day. But it's a very, very good video, and I hope you would enjoy it in the same way that you enjoyed the Lenny Yoro one. Let me go down and read some of your questions. Why would PSG have PSR problems, especially when they didn't have to pay the loyalty bonus? I don't know. I think I spoke about this before. I didn't do any research yesterday. I'm a bit busy. But look, Bayern Munich have got PSR problems, and Bayern Munich is one of the 5 biggest clubs in the world. And I don't know how Bayern Munich have got into that situation, but every club has to be aware of it. Like, it doesn't matter how big your revenue is. Every club is now conscious. It feels like, you know how FFP was always a joke? It feels like PSR finally is making clubs actually be conscious and aware of their finances in ways that they weren't before. So I think that's an improvement unto itself. But at the same time, there's just that clubs are now employing lawyers and employing accountants and cooking the books and finding creative ways to get around the rules instead of abiding by them. They're just spending more money trying to get around them. So it's kind of like, it's just a different evil, I suppose. But I think PSG want to sign Osimhen this summer, don't they? PSG want to sign João Neves this summer. So that's a lot of dough. And they've got to balance the books. Ugarte coming to United and Sancho going to PSG in some sort of swap deal worth 0 and a handshake would be amazing. Would be amazing. I reckon it will happen. But the Ugarte situation, it's quite a curious one. It's not mentioned by the Athletic really as a midfield option, despite the fact that we go over to our linked board here, and Ugarte's been at the top of that list for quite a while. You've got Fofana there, you've got Zubimendi there, you've got Rios there, you've got Simons, you've got Rabiot, João Neves. I may as well put him in the red, if I'm being totally honest. I don't know why he's still over there in the black. Because there is no way we're signing him. As much as I'd love to. That ain't happening. Real shame, actually. But money talks. Well, money also stops. Right, João Neves is over there now. Let me see what you're saying down here. Vida just did a similar Perisar merry-go-round with other clubs. Was that with... who did it as well? I think it was Nottingham Forest and Anderson. So, Nottingham Forest sold their goalkeeper to Newcastle, and Newcastle sold Elliot Anderson, I think, to Forest. And I think there was a creative way of how they've represented the numbers in the accounts. That's what it is, man. Like, a transfer is not a transfer anymore. It's a transfer, but you've got to really think of where you put it, what year accounts you're putting it in, what percentage is going where. And, geez, there's a lot. There is a lot going on. But That would probably be the best case scenario for United, is somehow getting Ugarte and Sancho involved in a swap deal. And maybe that's a conversation that's going on right now. But there's not really too much of an update to bring you in terms of other midfield. I spoke about this yesterday, by the way. I was like, if you're looking at Manchester United's options and who could be leaving, and we go back to the leaving whiteboard here, you've got Hannibal, who should be leaving, Christian Eriksen, who I think should be leaving. I think we can sell him, have a handshake and say thank you so much, good luck elsewhere. But now's the right time for us to be taking that spot with somebody else. And then you've got Casemiro, who should be leaving, and McTominay, who could be leaving. I would get rid of Casemiro, Christian Eriksen, and Hannibal all before I got rid of McTominay, but it could be happening. And I think Toby Collyer should be coming in and taking one of those spots in the squad. Probably. Well, you're looking at Ugarte coming in for Casemiro, really. So you'd probably be looking at Collyer coming in the squad for Eriksen. So who would Man United replace Hannibal with in the squad? Well, you could say Fofana. You could say Amrabat. It feels like United need two faces in central midfield this summer. Whether one of those is Amrabat coming back, so he's not a new face, he's just another, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Apparently we are still linked with him, despite the fact that we didn't want to pay the option. So maybe we'll try and get him for cheaper. I don't quite know. But Collyer coming in and being a squad member, I can see that being beneficial to United. I don't think his ceiling is going to be a Kobbie Mainoo ceiling. But not every player in your squad is like top 10 in their position in the world. Maybe Toby Collyer could become a Darren Fletcher for this sort of squad. Potentially. And it's not to say that Darren Fletcher wasn't an elite player, because he absolutely was an elite player, but it was an elite player with a ceiling that just wasn't quite as high as maybe a Carrick was. Didn't make him a lesser part of the squad. It just meant that he had a certain position inside that squad. And that's probably where I see Collyer. I think it would be a good one for us to have. So I think he should go on the pre-season tour, and I think he can do a job next season. That's what I think. So anyway, Toby, I can see you down there, man. Thank you for gifting 5 memberships. And Ria, what do you reckon?
Lenny.
I think I've decided I'm gonna get rid of the gong animations, I think, and I'm gonna make like a brand new soundboard. I think a soundboard would be more fun. That's what I think. So anyway, let me see what you're saying down here in the comments. Craig, I can't believe it, man. 430k subs. Yeah, it is. We are firing right now. I'm actually probably gonna. I've never done it before, but I think it'll be cool for us to do like a road to 500 between now and, well, 31st of December. See if we can do it. Maybe we can do some giveaways. I can see if I want to try and get as a little counter that can go up and keep count. I think it'll be a fun thing for us all to do. See if we can reach it, because that's a big ambition of mine for this year. I've had it on my board since January, and I think we've actually got an opportunity to do it now. What are you saying? What else are you saying down here? Hulman will be a very good player, but I think he's kind of... You know how people have the same questions about Ugarte being limited? I think you could have certain questions around Hulman as well. And also, you're going to be looking at 60, 70 mil. The Sporting Lisbon, they're going to look for the same sort of price that they got for Ugarte when he joined PSG. So I think that's out. Jason, you want a hoodie, man? They're on the website. Come on, man. Enjoy yourself. And make sure, members, by the way, you can go to the community tab, and if you look in there, you might have to scroll back a little bit. There are discount codes for all members. Each level gets a different discount code. All right. Rob saying, how comes we couldn't sign Todibo, but City could sign one from their sister club? Rob, that is precisely why Manchester United have hired a sports lawyer to ask that question to the Court of Arbitration. Man United have already done that. So it may well get towards the end of the summer and you find out that Man United can sign Todibo. Well, I don't really think that. Let me go down here, see if I missed any super chats. Gear, you're saying Wilcox was the first to meet Yoro. He's gold. Spoke about that, didn't we? We've got Lashy watching from Melbourne. How you doing, dude? My 6-year-old son, Connor, is watching right now. Could you give him a shout out? It would make his day. Connor, big up to you. Man. Was I watching United when I was 6? Yeah, I was. How was I when I was 6? That was 94. It's a good year. It's a great year. Man, I was so lucky. Imagine that. My whole youth, I grew up, when I first started realising what football, I started actually knowing what football was, I had Eric Cantona on my team. I grew up into Beckham and Keane and Giggs and Scholes. I feel sorry for, I do feel sorry for young United fans now. Although saying that, we've had these 10 years now, which has been tough. And it feels like if you're a young United fan now, you should have a much better 10 years ahead of you than the 10 years that we've had behind us. And it has been a struggle on this channel sometimes. The amount of therapy rooms I've had to open on this channel. It's a joke. Anyway, speaking of...
Lenny.
Did you watch that interview yesterday? I really enjoyed it. I actually didn't realise quite how good his English was. Very comfortable, very confident speaking. And it was nice to see his sort of personality. So go down here, 1 second. Someone accused me of something. Let me make sure I did it down there. Nope, missed absolutely nothing. Why is it that people tell you miss super chats when you haven't missed anything? Crazy. Right, I'm going to go back to this actually quickly before we speak about that Lenny Yoro conversation. I asked you down here at the start of the show if you could choose one of Wan-Bissaka or Mazraoui to be in the squad next season. Who would you choose? 51% of you said Mazraoui and 49% of you said Wan-Bissaka. It is a split house. And I'll be honest, if I could choose, I think I'd probably go Kadioglu over both of them. Just personally, I think I would. Anyway, Lenny Yoro. He'll be going on the preseason tour. I don't know whether Xerxes is going to be joining up because obviously he was in the semi-final. Maybe he'll join up for the second game. He'll fly out on his own. Don't quite know. But I just enjoyed the interview. If you haven't had the chance to watch it, it was on MUTV yesterday. I'm sure it's somewhere else yesterday. All right. Go and watch it. You'll enjoy it. Right. Speaking of Lenny Yoro, what do you reckon about that? This is our starting defence next season. I put this into the community tab yesterday, but everyone put it in your comments now. What would you rate this out of 10? As Manchester United starting back four next season? Luke Shaw, Lisandro Martinez, Lenny Yoro, and Diogo Dalot. Because that is some upgrade on what we had to deal with last season. What would you rate that out of 10? Obviously, you'd still need backup. You still could potentially have Ligt in there. You could have Kadioglu there if he comes in. You could have Anderson. You could have Mazraoui if he comes in. But that is a very strong looking. Of course, it's fitness dependent. All right. But if they are fit, solid. Let me go read what you're saying down there. Solid 8 out of 10 if we get Ligt in. 9 out of 10 says Vic. Josh, you're feeling chipper. 6, you need to replace Dalot and Shaw. Totally, utterly disagree on Dalot. Luke Shaw, yeah. Luke Shaw's not going to be here for the long term. I hope that he can deliver for United this season, but United should absolutely be looking for a left back next summer. Absolutely. We can't rely on Shaw. It's a shame, but it's the truth of his body. All right. If they're all fit, I'll rate it a 7 out of 10, says Danny on Facebook. You've got Peace who's saying it's a 9. Siharan, you're saying 8.5. One more. We've got 7 says Ebifemi. And you're going straight in with a 10. I think I'd go. I think I'll go a solid 8. However, how many games would I predict that to be fit to play next season? Out of 38 in the league? I wouldn't put money on it being over 25. I suppose 25 would probably not even be that bad, actually. 20? I don't know. Injuries, of course, are the biggest problem of that. Now, we spoke about this yesterday on the show, and I think my initial reaction to it was, well, if Getafe get 20%, then I can understand that because they effectively, when we sent Greenwood to them, he had no value, and then when he left them, he had more value. So I understand that. But then I'm like, what are you talking about, Sam? Like this idea that I've never heard that before. Maybe I've just not been aware of it. A player going out on loan to a club, coming back to said parent club, then being sold, and the club that you got loaned to gets 20% of the sell-on. As I said, I thought it was a fair thing at the time, and yesterday, and I was like, now that I've had time to think about it, it just seems terrible. And presumably that's going to be, well, not presumably, because the Getafe deal was done by Richard Arnold, John Murtough. So presumably they've just put that into the contract as a sweetener to try and make sure that Man United got rid of Greenwood last season after, by the way, Richard Arnold wanted to keep him. So this has been reported. I got sort of slapped down for saying it in the live show yesterday. It's someone in the comments. But James Ducker from the Telegraph's reporting it as well. I know they took a risk on him, Petter, but they benefited from said risk. They enjoyed Mason Greenwood for a season. He was their player of the season. They were a better team because they took the risk. So financially, they would have finished higher in the table and they would have earned more money. But to then get 20% of the sell-on? I'm not sure I agree with that now. I'm not sure I agree with that. Yeah, for taking the PR risk. As I said, that was my immediate reaction yesterday. But now I step back. It just kind of looks like an odd move from United. And probably a move from United where we felt like we needed to add a sweetener to the deal. Or we wouldn't have been able to get rid of him. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It just feels a bit weird. Maybe I'm feeling weird. But move on, and we'll speak about what's coming up next. But a certain Rasmus Højlund is back at Carrington. He is going to be on the pre-season tour, so we should be getting some photos. Hopefully, I'm waiting for this snap, United, so don't disappoint me. I want a photo of Ruud van Nistelrooy standing in the middle of Joshua Zirkzee and Rasmus Højlund. Give me that photo. But Højlund is there. Eriksson is there as well. Lachlan, I apologise for you, my friend. You will never, ever catch me doing a watch-along. Anybody who's new to the channel, welcome aboard. Please make sure you do subscribe. But you'll never see a watch-along on United People's TV. First of all, I hate them. Second of all, every other channel does one. There's like 5 or 6. It's not a smart use of time. You know, if I did watch-alongs and I spent so much time doing that, I wouldn't have the energy to do the sort of deep dives and the transfer profiles. And I'd much rather focus my energy on that sort of content that I consider high quality rather than a watch-along. If you want to go and do that, elsewhere. You're not going to get that with us. But Rasmus Højlund, I can't wait to see him in pre-season. As I said, I'm really looking forward to, at some point, maybe we see it in the pre-season, maybe not. But I want to see Højlund and Zirkzee playing on the same team, on the pitch together at the same time. I'd be really interested to know how that works. I think that's the dynamic that I'm most interested about this summer. How does Zirkzee really link up with that attack? Will we now see Højlund operate more centrally? Really kind of, last season Højlund would drop deep, drop into the channels, kind of receive the ball. And I said this last season, and a lot of you sort of slapped me down for it. But I said it kind of feels like Man United might be moving Højlund more towards being a box striker. Not just in the box and he can't move, because movement is a big part of his game. He does have speed as well when running in the channels. But if Zirkzee can be that link-up striker and Højlund can focus purely on being in the right positions to finish, I don't know, it just feels like it could be a development of his game. And Ruud van Nistelrooy is the best person to learn from if you're going to develop your game in that way. So I'm interested to see that. Anyway, Højlund's back at Carrington. Looking forward to seeing him. No Garnacho, though. Garnacho enjoying some family time, enjoying some downtime, which he deserves. Garnacho must have been he must have played nearly more minutes than anybody last season. What was it, like how many games in a row did he start? Was it 38, 40? I don't know how many it was at the end, but it shouldn't have been what a 19-year-old does. That should be like you're an established senior player that everyone's looking towards. But instead, it was Garnacho. So he's enjoying himself, enjoying his family, having some downtime, and we'll see him soon. And to finish the show as well, just a little update from Big Up the People's Person. It's my old website. Big up Yvonne and big up everybody else who works tirelessly on that website. Make sure you check out thepeoplesperson.com if you want accurate news. It's always... I ran that full-time from... I think it was 2014? 2013, I think. I ran it full-time as my job. It must have been like a decade before I passed it on to Yvonne and to all the other great writers that are on there. So go to thepeoplesperson.com. But anyway, Man United are out there for the Milk Cup. The under-16s, they won 4-0 yesterday, and you'll see a certain Mantato had a cracking game. That's Bendito Mantato, who just signed his first professional contract at Manchester United. There was question marks about whether he would stay or go, but he's staying, and he played well. Steve, dude, thank you very much, man, for sending that in. Little super sticker. Thanks for being you. You got a happy pair with a mirror. I don't know what that is, but thank you, dude. Your support is awesome. And I'll say it to you, Steve. I'm going to check up with the distributors on where your merch is, because yours, I can see, is a little bit delayed. I don't know why it is, but lots have gone out around yours. I don't know why yours hasn't. So I will check up on that for you today. And everybody else, I hope you've enjoyed the merch if you've received it. Alex, I saw that you got it. We're working now on the second launch, and I'll tell you what, we've had an idea, and if we can pull this off, it's going to be awesome. It really, really is going to be awesome. Make sure I didn't miss any super chats down here. How can you saying Sav to Man City is legal because it was done before the rule was active? You can call it what you want, dude. Sure, it's legal, but it is a workaround. It is a loophole. This is the point. The questions are never at whether it's legal. I get I said that you sound like a lawyer who works for City here. It's completely legal. Completely legal. Yeah, all right, mate. Future superstar and Ibrahimov and Lacey. What about Mantato? The under-18s are really going to be exciting to watch this season. Imagine we get Obi Martin as well from Arsenal. You'll see what's coming in the second launch. Don't worry. But we're working towards it. And hopefully, well, I'm not going to tell you when we're aiming for, actually. But it's coming. Let's call it in the next 6-7 weeks. We'll do that. There's no news on Obi Martin just yet. As far as we know, he's leaving Arsenal. And as far as we know, Manchester United are leading the race to sign him. So that's it for today's show. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you all for tuning in, as always. I'll be here later today. If there's any breaking news, I'll cover it live and direct. I always do. And there'll be a lunchtime video. I'm not quite sure what today's lunchtime video is going to be. There's a couple of ideas I've got. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you drop a like on the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you soon.